We can make very interesting desserts by cooking them with a topping of some sort. And these are known as crisps, crumbles, crunches, and cobblers. They're virtually all the same thing. The only thing that's different is the type of top that's on. We're going to make now a rhubarb crisp, and a crisp has rolled oats in it. A crumble usually is just with flour in the top. We make the topping first, and we're making a crisp which has the rolled oats in it. So it has 3/4 of a cup, so I use the 1/4 cup 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. Now it calls for a 1/3 cup of flour. It says all-purpose or whole wheat. However, use the whole wheat. The whole wheat flour gives you the extra fiber and extra taste. So stir your flour and then level it off. And we need some sugar. Sweeten it up. Brown sugar is a lot more expensive than white sugar, but it gives a very, very good flavor. Always store your brown sugar in the bag, because otherwise it will go hard on you. And if it does go hard, then put in a piece of bread, 1/3 of a cup. Put in a piece of bread, and the moisture that's in the bread will loosen it right up again. Brown sugar is always measured firmly. So use the side of your bag and press the brown sugar in like that. You always want to get accurate measure, so just get into the habit of measuring accurately every time that you do a product. Then when you get to places where the accuracy is very, very critical, you won't be making a mistake. So we'll mix that up. Now we have to add some moisture into it. The recipe says that you can use melted shortening, melted butter, melted margarine, or canola oil. The key word is melted or oil. Now we want 1/4 of a cup of oil. Now in 1/4 of a cup, remember when you're measuring liquids, you get down and look level in. We can make a mix up, and there is a recipe for this in your recipe book. If you're making a lot of crisps and crumbles and like toppings, use a mix. If you mix it up in a larger quantity, it can be stored just in the cupboard in a tin, well-sealed tin, and then it's all ready. So you wouldn't have to do this every time if you were using crisps often. So look for the recipe in your recipe book. This is the topping, called a crisp. You can make apple crisp, rhubarb crisp, cherry crisp, any kind of crisp you like. So this is a fruit crisp, really. We're going to make it rhubarb. The rhubarb is something that it's very, very plentiful in the spring. People who have a rhubarb in their patch usually have so much rhubarb that they're giving it away. So if you can be on the receiving end of getting some rhubarb from people who have these rhubarb roots, it's great. Don't try to buy it though, because it's very expensive to buy. So rhubarb is something that you look for from your neighbors, your friends, and see if you can find some. When you get it home, just wash it, dry it, cut it into these 1-inch cubes, stick it in a bag, which is a freezer bag, and put a little supply for the winter in your freezer. I would like to put a little bit of sugar, and we need some sugar, of course, about 1/4 of a cup of sugar. But I'd like to put some thickener in it as well, because rhubarb is quite watery, so we want your crisp to be a little thicker. It doesn't have to be as thick as it would be in a rhubarb pie, but it should be a little thick. So about 2 tablespoons, there's 4 cups of rhubarb there, and if I were making a rhubarb pie, I'd be putting in 4 tablespoons or 1/4 of a cup, but I don't need it that thick, so I'm just using half that amount, 2 tablespoons, which will give it a little bit of thickness when it's cooked. So mix this up. On top of this, we put the crumble, or crisp as it's called. When you have this as a dessert, you certainly don't have to have any other sweet beside it. Pop this in the oven, 350 oven, and it'll probably be there for 45 minutes or so for it to get cooked through.